Well, welcome to GTC Teaching Tidbits Blackboard Ultra. In this series, each episode, we focus on exploring techniques, tips, practices, ideas to help expand your knowledge of and comfort with using Blackboard Ultra. I'm joined today by Rebecca Roth from the Curriculum and Instructional Support Center, CISC for short. Welcome, Rebecca.
Hi, thank you.
It's always so grateful to have CISC doing these updates because sometimes, we open up Blackboard Ultra and there's something new. And we wonder, wait, when did that happen? What is that? What can I do with that? And in our previous episode, Lee did give us a little bit of a preview of what was coming in September. Although I think, Rebecca, he also did say there were a couple things that got postponed.
Yes, I'll go over those.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Well, Rebecca's here to dive into what updates are available to us here for September 2023. So, Rebecca, I'm going to turn it over to you to share your teaching tidbits.
Okay. Thank you, Rachel. And let me share my screen real quick. As Rachel said, I'm going to go over the updates for September. As some of you know, and some of you may not know, every month Blackboard updates something in the Ultra Learn platform. And usually there is a long list of updates, most of which may be, some minor ones or some updates to something that has already changed. So for example, when you sort your announcements or sort your content items, you have some different options that show up, and you'll see those as you're working around in Blackboard. But for now, what I want to do is go over some of the top highlights that are the most effective for you guys who are teaching in Blackboard right now. So first we have the image integration into our learning module. And then we also have auto-captioning that is now available, batch edit, and copying announcements. These are the top updates for September. And then once I go over each of these, I'll explain to you some of the upcoming updates for October. So as I said, this first bit is about adding an image to your learning module, and we will have a guide available for you on how to insert an image and size it and everything that needs to be set up to add one of these images. But as you can see here, you now have that option to add. And I will say, I don't have it on the slide here, but it does want a square image. So if you're already working with something like Canva, or even Instagram, it's the Instagram 1-to-1 ratio. So you can use that to build your images. And of course, please make sure that you are following copyright laws, or at least citing your images if you take them from somewhere else, or using your own images. You can use Canva to create some of your images. And then hopefully one day we'll have a library of images to share with you. So this is a really cool new feature for the interface. It gives it a little bit more visual variety and visual interest for both you and your students. All right, next what we have is the update to the auto-captioning for audio and visual feedback. So this is the feedback editor that is in the feedback in the gradebook area. So when you go in to grade an item and give feedback, you have the option to record an audio recording or a video recording to that feedback or to that graded item. And so now you can choose, it will automatically caption what you have to say. And it does have the option to caption in multiple languages. So that's a really cool feature. And I will say this is separate from the Yuja platform that you've heard so much about from us. You can always use Yuja to record some feedback and then insert that into Blackboard, but this is something that is built into the Blackboard feedback editor. All right, so something else that you all are probably excited about is the batch edit updates. So when you go into your batch edit area from the course content area, you now can see all of your items, and you can adjust the availability and visibility for these items. You can adjust the whole folder or individual items. It's up to you. I will say it does not allow you to update the due dates like when you edit them, you would move them forward like 30 days or 90 days, whatever that is. And then you would have to go in and individually kind of adjust it by the weekday that is within that. For example, if you're moving from one semester to the next, it is a little bit tricky in that way, but it does allow you to kind of batch push them forward. So you're not having to click, next month. So, and then also within the batch edit, has a lot better visual visibility than what it had in the past. So now you can see most of your items in a single page. You can do the sweeping date adjustment, same with the visibility, the release conditions, and the truncated titles. Before they were overlapping with the dates and times, now they don't. And of course, we have the drop down so that you can drill down into those individual items or just work with one whole folder or module. All right. And then the next thing that is also very exciting is the ability to copy your announcements from one course to another. And in this case, you can actually copy all of your announcements. So if you're in the previous folder then is in this screenshot, you can just choose all announcements, or you can drill down to specific announcements. So for myself, I would like to go in and check my individual announcements because my spring announcements may include a spring break announcement, whereas my fall announcement includes a Thanksgiving announcement that, I do or don't want to pull forward. But my generic module or weekly announcements are pretty consistent from semester to semester. So it's really, and it's a great way, or if you're setting up one section of a course and you want to use that same announcement in another section, that you just, instead of having to rewrite it or copy and paste, you can just copy it over from a current section as well. So this is a really cool feature. It's also in the copy item area where you would copy any content item. You'll now see announcements as one of your options. And then also I do want to mention that when you do copy it over, it will copy as a draft. So you don't have to worry about it posting for your students before you're able to go in and make those minor adjustments, such as your section numbers or dates. So, all right. And then, so that was a short and sweet for September. There are some more updates that, as Rachel mentioned before, that Lee promised to come that did get pushed back by Blackboard. I've highlighted a few of these in green that are what I'm most excited about, and that is the Safe Assign Direct Submit. So we had that in original. It's coming back in Ultra. This will be really great. For those assignments, if you want to copy and paste, a discussion board post or a journal, something that's not where they're not submitting it through Safe Assign. Or, for example, if a student emails an assignment to you, you can go in and do the direct submit to get that Safe Assign report. They're adding partial credit to an automated partial credit to your multiple choice questions. The sorting controls are now in October will now be able to be applied to the manually added items, not just your Blackboard items. The last access course alert is going to come out, and that is set at 15 days, but this is a really cool feature for alerting those students about and alerting you to students who haven't accessed a course in over 15 days. We also have coming is the student activity report for assessments on small devices in the mobile app. So this, the analytics is just broadening to include those, when they're logging in from an iPhone or Android phone. Our favorite, something that we've been looking forward to for ever since we moved to Ultra, is that the reminder feature, they have promised that it will come back. It was supposed to be here in September. There was some things going on over at Blackboard that caused a delay, but now we should be able to have the reminder feature coming in October. So that's probably the most exciting update for October to come. And then a few other ones here just to mention: the deselect the answer for multiple choice test questions for students. And of course, the messages in the mobile app do have some improvements coming. And that is everything. That's a lot for October. It's a big update. September, has, not as many that I've highlighted here, but still some that are pretty big. Adding those images in, I think, is one of the coolest ones. So, all right, Rachel, do you have any questions?
I'm so excited about the image for one thing, because it sounds like that's just another element that's going to make the experience for the students that much more engaging. My only question about that is, have you heard anything yet about how students are responding to, I know most of us probably aren't using it yet here at Tech, but because it just came out, but I don't know if you've heard anything about student response to having that image with the learning module from Blackboard at all? I
haven't heard anything directly yet. Like you said, we have limited use of it at Greenville Tech right now. So, or we did have, and now we're adding it in. I think it's exciting because, I mean, we all have heard if the image is there, in a PowerPoint presentation or something like that, that retention is stronger, even if it's, a purely decorative image. So yeah, for sure. I think the students will be excited, just to see something that's a little bit less text heavy, especially those visual learners. They can attach a concept to that image. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great thing. One thing that I'm working on is building, I want to build a red exclamation point image to go next to required assignments. That's when they're looking at the content, next to a quiz, it has a little exclamation point, just a red flag, basically. I haven't built that into mine yet, but that's what my goal is.
Yes. Well, and what a creative way to use it. I know it just came this month, and it's not something we require people to do in our Teaching with Blackboard course, but I can tell you we already have at least one participant in the Teaching with Blackboard course who, even though it wasn't required, went ahead and did it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
As they were kind of creating their model assignments in their playground, and it was kind of cool to see them just already kind of readily embrace that feature and do it well. And I know people are going to be very excited about that copy announcements as well. That was a question I'd heard from a couple of people. And so it's nice that it doesn't have to be the batch copy. It can just be, you can select. And I am super excited. Leah and I have been talking about that send reminder feature in the gradebook for months, and I have missed that. So I'm sure other people are probably as excited as I am that is coming back.
Yes, I didn't know it existed until only a few years ago in original, and I loved it so much. And yeah, I agree. It's just click that button and it goes out, or even automate the feature. So, yeah, I was disappointed that it wasn't coming out in September, but we'll take it for October, as long as it gets here.
Yes. And exciting for those of us who used Safe Assign a lot in our classes. I know that will be incredibly helpful to have that direct submit feature back. That's been gone for a couple years since we have been transitioning to Ultra. So it will be really nice to have that alternative again.
Yes.
But we'll hear more about it next month, because that's October. So we'll be back for an October 2023 episode. Rebecca, thank you so much for being here and sharing the updates for September 2023. And as they always share, if you have questions, you want to continue the conversation, need some assistance, you can reach out to Lee or Rebecca. They are kind of our main Blackboard focused people here, although pretty much every member of your team now is pretty well versed in Blackboard and able to assist. But you could reach out to Lee McMinn. His email's here on the screen, lee.mcminn@gvltec.edu, or rebecca.roth@gvltec.edu. If you don't remember that, just remember you can email CISC staff gvltec.edu, and any member of their team will reach out to you and connect with you to assist you with your questions. And of course, if you look at the description and the notes below the video, you will see a link to their email, but then also a link to their LibGuide, which is where they're kind of posting their things and making some of their resources available. So that'll be a great link to go visit as well. Well, that's our teaching tidbit for this episode of Blackboard Ultra, and we will see you next time.